Alright, so let's get into game number 3. And yeah, I'm just gonna roll the game and pray to God that this one does not corrupt, because this one is a pretty long game. And I seriously pray to God that this one doesn't corrupt and I don't have to repeat the antics from last game. Or I had to improvise on the spot and pretty much just steal someone else's content and talk over it. I mean, I'm very lucky that nothing on my channel is private. It's monetized, basically. So I don't think I can get any copyright strikes. And I'm doing my best to redirect every single person to the rightful channels of the players and their streams. So I really hope the guy doesn't mind, or just never finds out. If he does find out, and he does decide to copy strike against my blatant robbery of his content, then I will gladly take down the video and apologize. Until then, it will remain up on my channel. And I'll be praying that things do not repeat themselves. But let's get into the actual match itself. No more pointless rambling from me, but instead we get purposeful rambling about the game between Light, who is playing the purple Terran on the middle left spot, up against Zero, who is back on the Protoss on the bottom right corner. He starts off with a slight variation of the exact... Well, starts off with the exact same build that he did prior. Starts off with a gateway, throws down the gas, makes a second gateway, makes a cybernetic core, and then he throws down the assimilator. So 2 gas, 2 gateways. He's gonna make zealots first, and once the cybernetic core finishes and the singularity charge is on the way, he switches over to Dragoons. And Light went for a 2-barrack build. He's scouting with a Marine and another Marine. He's not scouting with a single SCV. Wait, he is scouting with a single SCV. I saw it going into his base and I still forgot it was there. So he found out where Zero is. There is a Marine on the way. He's not gonna make a bunker because he sees that single Zealot out there, and the single Zealot will be able to prevent the bunker from going down. Light is going to regroup or group up these Marines inside of Zero's base and try to deal some damage, because the minerals are completely exposed and there are only 8 probes mining minerals, because he had to pull 6 probes off onto the gas, which is, in my opinion, actually a little bit too much. But he has Dragoons on the way. Singularity charge has started. He scouts the corner right exactly where Light had his units. Light pulls back. SCV is still there. SCV is going to go down to Dragoons and the Zealot. So Light now forced to pull back his Marines. He's making a bunker in the front of his base. He's got an academy up. He's making Marine range upgrade to fight back against the Dragoon range. So this 2-barrack pump will not really hurt him all that much. Alright, so Dragoons on the way. They're not going to be aggressive. They're just there to ensure... Well, they are going to be aggressive, but their main goal is to ensure that he can get this pylon down and probably get some cannons down as well. And then transition back over into that robotics facility that he went for in the first game. Look, he's got way too much gas there, so he has to be going for robotics facility very soon. Otherwise, it's not justified to have that 2 assimilator up there. Because otherwise, you're just hurting your mineral income in favor of gas income that you're not going to be using. So he still has not used the gas, but he is moving the probe around the base, building a skeleton for himself. There is the first robotic facility, so he's finally starting to use that gas, albeit not as efficiently as it could be. He's moving the Dragoons in, he scouted the remaining spots, he knows where Light is. Light has Marine range upgrade finished and has Marine weapons upgrades on the way and stim upgrade on the way. These Dragoons are unable to get into the exact range where they would be able to attack the bunker, thanks to the Marine range. So Yeah, I'm not really liking the strategy from Zero, but I assume it's gonna be dependent on this next wave that's gonna come in. And the next wave is basically going to be these two robotic facilities making a shuttle robotic support bay, then enabling him to make Reavers. He's gonna fly that in from the front, take down the bunkers before the siege mode finishes for the tank. Basically, a retelling of the very first game where Zero lost his probes and was unable to really pull off the strategy as he intended to. So now this is pretty much a redemption game where we might be seeing him pull off the strategy as he intended it to be pulled off. And this is actually the most unique fastest map strategy or build that I've ever seen for a Protoss. I have never ever seen a Protoss do this build specifically. It is the most unique build. Gonna get the production tab up. There it is. He's making 2 Reavers, he's making shuttle speed, he's adding more Zealots into the mix. Siege mode has started. Whether the Reavers will finish and land within range of the bunkers before the siege mode has finished is up for debate, but I don't think the Reavers will be there in time. Turrets are being thrown down on the corners and the sides against the hill of Light's base, so Light is preparing for drops. He is preparing for a frontal attack somewhat, because I am sure that he anticipates a frontal attack is coming, because he saw this build happen once before. So there's the tank. Siege mode is almost finished. Reavers both finishing up too. Shuttle's going to pick them up and transport them over to Zero's entrance. Zero is pretty small. I mean, Light is pretty small, but he is setting up the correct countermeasures for every single option that Zero can throw at him. So that is something that I'm really liking out of Light's play here. While he's playing on a somewhat small economy, like most players would have thrown down a 3rd command center and help boost their income a little bit. Zero is more the player to stick to just one single command center and just build units and build up the correct answers to the options the Protoss has in order to defend himself, or which the options the Protoss has to attack, so that Light can defend himself against those options that the Protoss has into the Terran. That's a very confusing line of reasoning there. I hope I didn't confuse you as well. So 2 Stargates, 4 Corsairs, or 4 Arbiters in fact. He's going for very early Arbiters. He hasn't decided to attack yet or deal damage to Light. This is more or less a repeat of game number 1, even in the sense where Zero is not dealing damage to Light. But this time it's not out of an inability, it's out of the choice not to deal damage. And whether that choice is going to come back to haunt him is something we will see unfold in the next couple of minutes. Because either Light will be too big and the clock will run out for Zero, and Zero will be forced to switch over to a completely different attack strat, or Light will not be too big and the clock will still be running and ticking, and Zero will still have time to pull off an offense. Light redirects his units more to the southern side of Light's base, where Light has fewer turrets. Is he gonna fly in over this little opening here? Is he gonna elect the exact corner where there are more turrets? He can see over the hill. Alright, Wraiths are flying in, but the Wraiths don't get there in time. Lots of units being dropped out. Reavers being dropped. Reavers gonna take a shot off on some SCVs, but only 4 SCVs died because most SCVs were pulled off of the minerals, and the drop fails. He does end up taking down a couple of Marines, 4 SCVs, takes down 3 turrets here on the side, takes down a Wraith. These remaining Zealots there, unzealot lagged, gonna go down to the Marine stims, and we are back to square number 1. Light is unhurt, although he did have to pull his SCVs off of his minerals, which does slow his income down a little bit, but it's better than losing SCVs in the first place. Light now being very aggressive with these raids. He's gonna go shuttle hunting, or he's gonna hang them there over Never mind, he's not gonna go shuttle hunting. He's just scouting the map a little bit, getting himself some information, or just getting control over the bottom side of that map. Below his base, he has those raids there. They're gonna be waiting for shuttles to fly in over the south side. He's gonna group them up with more raids, I was going to say, but those raids, he's gonna regroup them inside his base, so not outside of his base. He's not gonna go for preemptive shuttle sniping. Right, so recall is on the wave of 0. Zealot lags are on the wave of 0, and he's got weapons and armor for ground on the way. He's producing shuttles, he's producing Templars, and a bunch of cannons all around his base, because you never know, maybe a nuke is coming, maybe a tank drop is coming. Maybe raids with EMP are coming, although we've never actually seen that happen, aside from one game from Hamburger Sasu earlier into one of my earlier videos, like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I've got so many videos within such a short period of time, I'm aware, but this is just so much fun to do. It's a lot of fun to improve and learn and just talk to myself, basically. Yeah. Sounds really sad when you think about it like that, talking to myself. But somewhere deep inside of my heart, I'm talking to you specifically. Right, Raid's gonna come in. No, Raid's pulling back to the north. He sees the shuttle. No, he sees the shuttle in the north. Raid's slightly mispositioned. Drop comes flying in against the side up map. Raid's immediately targeting the shuttle. Shuttles go down to the combined fire of the Marines and the turrets. Again, the turrets in the bottom corner of fly space. Gonna go down to the Zealots. Pretty much the only damage he's been able to deal tonight. So 0, once again, back to square number 1. But against an opponent that's continuously and very slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The clock keeps ticking, and it's ticking, and it's just making the game, the situation, harder for evil, harder for 0 to control and contain. The Terran is going to keep growing bigger. The bigger a Terran is, the better the answers it has against the Protoss. But it's already 12 minutes into the game, and Light is only on 3 starports and 3 factories. He's adding on 2 more factories, there'll be 5 factories very soon. He's got turrets placed everywhere around his base though, and he has the ability to produce a lot of units given his supplies cap is so high. He's got tank upgrades on the way and air upgrades on the way. And he is already on 1-1. No, he's not yet on 1-1. He just started the upgrades, so no 1-1. More Arbiter upgrades on the way. Arbiter energies, already on 150 energy for both Arbiters. And those Arbiters are probably going to be able to fly into the base of Light. But Light throws out scans. He finds the Arbiter. He's going to go Arbiter hunting. He's going to be very aggressive now. There are no observers there to prevent Light. Oh, he gets the beautiful... He gets a pretty beautiful stasis up on those raids and saves his Arbiter. Well, there's still a single raid left undetected. Will its energy run out soon? Oh, there comes an observer, so now he can save the Arbiter. He still tries to micro and take down the shuttle. He deals a little damage, but that's a really nice preemptive offensive move from Light. Like, instead of waiting for the shuttles to come to you, you come to the shuttles and you attack them and kill them inside the base of your enemy. Which is pretty much only made possible by the fact that 0 never built himself a cannon choke. Usually the cannon choke protects the shuttles too. Right, so the raids are unstasis, and he's not going to try to save them, they're just going to die. He's going to replace them with more raids, maybe Valkyries or maybe Goliaths. Right, so Arbiter comes flying in. Arbiter recalls a huge pile of units, mostly Zealots, no Templars in there. And notice most of the Zealots go down to tank fire because there are so many tanks located here that they just bam, shoot down most of the Zealots within a single shot, a second shot and a third shot. But Zealots there gonna clean out the turrets there in the top. Stint Marines coming in to help to try and salvage his turrets. And yeah, about 4 turrets went down, a couple of Marines went down, a couple of tanks went down. A 5th turret is going to go down. Nope. He saves the turret. He repaired another turret, but yeah, the 5th turret went down. 6th turret also, actually 6 turrets went down. Right, 2 more Arbiters placed on the top side of the map, just above the middle, waiting for energy. He's grouping up units there. He's maybe going to use that little trick where you morph a Templar and then clip a lot of units on top of each other and then recall them inside the enemy base. Valkyrie's scouting for Arbiters, but there are no Arbiters inside of Zero's base, so he knows that the Arbiters have to be somewhere around the map, flying towards Light's base. He's got an EMP on the way. Upgrades for tanks and air are about to finish. He's got tank upgrades finished. Ship upgrades are about to finish. He is no longer adding buildings onto his base, but I assume he will start adding more factories into his base very, very soon because there's a lot of free space there. Arbiter comes flying in, meets the hill, recalls once it is over the hill, recalls a lot of units on top of the turrets. He's going to clear the turrets and wait for the second Arbiter. He's going to clear the path for the second Arbiter. Once these turrets go down, he's going to fly that in, but Valkyries saw the Arbiter and they're going to shoot on the Arbiter. Arbiter goes in, it dies before it can get up a recall. Now he has to wait for a second wave of Arbiters to pull off recalls, but he is making Arbiters from 4 Stargates at the same time. Light now rethinking his strategy because nothing has worked as of yet. He's dealt only damage to the turrets so far. And the only thing he's got going for him is the fact that Light has only 60 SCVs, of which 30 are mining gas. So he's only 30 SCVs mining minerals, so his minerals are a very, very low amount. So Light can actually just keep trying to hit the minerals, because if he hits those minerals, and Light only has 30 SFE mining minerals, means he's gonna be on a very low mineral count. And it's gonna be hard for him to recover from the assault on his minerals. But instead, Zero goes for the front. He's getting desperate, because all of his attempts so far have failed, and the clock is still ticking. So 60 minutes in, Light is now adding more factories. Took him a while to start adding those factories, but he's one of those players who prefers to camp and be entirely safe and sound before he goes on the offensive or before he starts spending minerals where he might not immediately need them. He's a very slow and methodical player. Maybe not the most exciting player, but very slow and methodical, very smart. He's more focused on denying the options the Protoss has instead of enabling himself options. Alright, so all 4 Arbiters are about to finish. He's gonna just have to wait for Arbiter energy to pull off recalls or stasises. Pylons being constructed on the middle, more scans coming out. He sees the entire base that Zero has. He sees these Arbiters leaving the base too. And these Valkyries are immediately going to be moving around, mostly around his own base. He's not going to send them out of his base because he doesn't want to risk having his Valkyries out of position to respond to the Arbiters. He wants them in the exact right position so he can immediately take down the Arbiters. Arbiters are placed... Where are they? Where are the Arbiters? I cannot... Alright, here are the Arbiters. I found them. He's spreading them out all over the map to make it harder for Light to respond to them. So just spreading them out. Alright, one is gonna come flying in and it pulls off. It barely pulls off the recall into all of these turrets. Alright, gets the EMP off on the Zealots and the Templars, lowering their shields and taking away their energy. But Zero does manage to kill 6 turrets there. So there is a very small hole that opened up. Another recall comes down on the exact same place where he opened up a hole. He throws down another EMP. He did get off 2 storms. He missed the EMP. So he gets down 3 storms on the tanks inside of Light's base. He kills 2 more turrets, and there were more Arbiters, but did those Arbiters go down? Where are those Arbiters? I lost track of them completely. Right, so he did manage to open up a hole. Light is going to plug that hole with these SCVs really quickly and construct turrets here. He's placing the Valkyries over the hole to protect it. Alright, so this Zealot is just being an annoyance and moving around the base, attacking random turrets, which Light will of course repair. So the Dragoons are going to take down his barrack, deny Light vision over the hills, and Light has finally filled up his entire base. He's got factories everywhere, and upgrades are almost on 3-3 for his ground. His air is on 2-2. He hasn't started more air upgrades yet. Zero is on 3-2-3 for his ground forces. His air forces I cannot see because he doesn't... Right, there they are. He's on 1-2-1 for his air. So he's lagging behind just a little bit for his air upgrades. He's now almost finished in carrier capacity upgrades. And only 2 carriers are on the way. He's got a total of 6 Stargates, so he can produce 6 carriers at a time. He's going for a more low map style Protoss, where you play focused heavily on Arbiters and a small number of carriers mixed in with ground units. But Light produced a drop. And luckily for Zero, there are a lot of cannons here on this part, so he might have to fly over the cannons. Alright, he meets the cannons, he redirects his drop, but Zero now knows that a drop is coming from Light. The recall has happened on the turrets, but the turrets are not really what you want to kill or deal damage to, because they can just be replaced very quickly. Alright, the drop comes in all the way, he lands the drop right next to the Nexus, but there is no EMP. He didn't have energy for an EMP. So he still gets to take down the Nexus though with just fully upgraded siege tanks, not sieging, just landing and using their regular cannons to take down the Nexus. They didn't even end up needing the EMP. Usually people EMP the Nexus so it's way quicker to take down, but he didn't need the EMP because he didn't have energy for the EMP. But he manages to take it down. Luckily for Zero, he's very rich on both minerals and gas. Another recall comes in, gets a storm up on some tanks, and he's still hammering away at this corner. The thing he's got going for him is that there's a hole here. There are no Valkyries for Light out on the map, just Goliath, so he has to rely on Goliath to take down the Arbiters. And that's why he didn't have energy for another recall. Okay, so this entire corner has again been cleaned out. Light very quickly throwing down new turrets in the corner there. And another drop comes flying in. This time he's going to aim for... Oh, never mind, they're empty. He's just getting rid of those dropships. Right, so he's got 4 carriers ready as we speak. 3 more carriers are on the way. The hole is in the process of being plugged up. 3 turrets have been put back there, although we did lose about 20 turrets in total in the process of that entire exchange that was happening there while he was getting dropped. Right, so a couple of units attacking the front. No, tanks are sieged. Light now decides to move out. He sees that there are cannons on the middle, so sieges up his tanks. And unsieges them because he sieges them up way too far away. He's just gonna spread them out all the way around the middle. Spread them out, making it harder for Zero to kill them as the tank is spread out. And it's a longer distance to travel in between each of them, allowing him to deal more splash damage with his tanks. Although now he's balling them up again. Right, so these 4 carriers are gonna try to open up the hole again, but there are 7... How many? 8 Valkyries, and these Valkyries are dealing a lot of damage to the Interceptors, but the Interceptors were just a cover for the Arbiter to fly in and pull off a recall. So these units inside of Light Space now once again killing turrets, killing a couple of tanks, although it's very hard for his units to get in between these factories because it's pretty much a bottleneck that is being blocked by a tank. Instead, he's just going to take down all of these turrets here on the bottom side of Light Space, but Light doesn't really care because he has control over the middle of the map, clean out those cannons in the middle of the map, and now he's going to kill these 2 starports, the pylon, and these cannons there above Zero's base. His Valkyrie flying in, dying 2 cannon shots, but pulls away before it dies. All the turrets have been cleaned out here on the bottom side of Light Space. Light hurrying to replace them with new ones. There is no new Arbiter out for Zero, so Zero has completely forsaken the Arbiter recall strategy and is instead fully committing himself to these carriers mixed in with ground units and Templars. And quite honestly, it is a very good combination to have Zealots on the ground with Templars and then carriers in the air. Makes it very hard. It's very hard for Terran to play into. There's a lot of Goliaths here. The carriers are more or less under upgraded as they're only on 232, whereas the Goliaths and tanks for Light are on 3-3 upgrades. Goliaths chasing down the carriers. Carriers lost most of their interceptors already. He's counter-attacking, kills a single Goliath, but all of the interceptors dying so very quickly to the targeted fire of these Goliaths. Light now coming down into the middle, the bottom middle spot to focus down this Expo. He's just making sure that he cleans out the map to prevent Zero from having more production facilities and prevent him from flanking with ground units. But given that these tanks are fighting against carriers. It pulls back the tanks. So they are protected by the Goliaths. Goliaths now firing away on... Some of them are firing away at the carriers. Some of them are firing at interceptors. Now the Goliaths are chasing the carriers. Carrier goes down. Carriers are within the safe range. Goliaths pull back. Tanks siege up. More units gonna come stream in from the base. Straight into the middle. Now the Goliaths are gonna take down this Expo here. But they're gonna be met by a bunch of Zealots. Carriers are gonna come streaming in too. They get stormed as well. Zealots clearing out the Goliaths. A couple of carriers shooting down the Goliaths. But the Goliaths are gonna pull back to the middle. Be safe with their little Goliath friends and Goliath tanks on the middle of the map. And the carriers again pushed away by this huge force. This sizable force of Goliaths. Right, so back to square one. Well, Hotube Light made a huge amount of progress. Although he's a very slow player, he made a huge amount of progress with very controlled play. Smart play, good control too. Right, units come streaming in. Carriers, Dragoons, Zealots attacking from the front. And he might be able to clean out this mass in the middle, although most of the Zealots already went down to the combined fire of the tanks and Goliaths. Goliaths pretty much ignoring the carriers, mostly focusing on interceptors. Most of the interceptors went down. Just a couple of storms went down on the tanks, but the tanks here in the back killed the Dragoons, and Zero once again forced to pull back to the hills. Cue the Iron Maiden song. Run to the hills. Alright, so more units being produced for 0-0, very slowly losing his minerals. He's lost 4,000 minerals so far because he's only on 48 probes left mining minerals in his base. Light decides not to pull back. He's just going to reposition his units on the middle to regroup them. Some very low minerals. He only has 49 SCVs in total mining gas and minerals. He doesn't really need much more gas because he's on 4,000 gas, so he can... Most of his SCVs are in fact on his minerals. You can put those on his minerals as well. Help increase his income a little bit, because as you can see, his supply count isn't maxed out. And he isn't producing from every single factory. He's producing from most of them though. But not from every single one. Actually, he's not producing from just a single one. And he's not producing from a Star Force, but he doesn't really need that. Alright, so now Zero is finally on the counter-attack in the front here, but there are so many turrets and Goliaths here that these carriers don't really do much. Right, he throws down a stasis on the Vraids, but also hits his own carriers in the process. Now the remaining carriers get chased down because he doesn't have an observer there to detect the Vraids. And these 5 carriers who are trying to escape die to the combined fire of the Raids and the Goliaths. Now he's just gonna wait for these carriers to unfreeze. Then he's gonna take them down with the Goliaths and the Raids. So kind of an unfortunate stasis there, because that locks him in having about 40 supply stuck there in the middle of the map, and the supply is going to die. There's no way of saving this. So now he's going to have to switch over to a ground mass very quickly, because he will not be able to reproduce or produce replacement carriers in time. So fight breaks out on the middle. Carriers are trying to run away. He's microing them pretty well, attacking while running away, but they all die to the Vraids and the Goliaths before they can get into the safe haven. Because these two do get into a safe haven. He pulls them back and tries to do a little bit of damage to the tank. Maybe take down a couple of tanks. The Vraids come back in, target firing on the carriers. Carriers are going to go down. He doesn't try to save them. Instead, he's replacing his carrier mass with a ground mass of Zealots and Dragoons, but these Zealots and Dragoons are going to have to be fighting into tanks and Goliaths combined. He's just hammering away. Units coming in from both sides, so Zealots have to make a choice, attack on the south or attack in the north. And Zealots went down. There's a Dark Templar in the mix there. Dark Templar's going to do a lot of work because there is no scan. The right scan comes down, but he doesn't kill the Dark Templar just yet because the Dark Templar is kind of safe there. Alright, Dark Templar is hidden again. Tanks come streaming into the Expo. We're going to take down these gateways. Another scan is going to come down very soon once we notice that the Dark Templar is still alive. Alright, units come streaming out of Zero's base again. Carriers are going to go for the attack. So he's keeping the carriers safe for now. Zealots are going to try to clean out these tanks here. And he's gonna try to save this Expo, although I think this Expo is pretty much already lost. Because he doesn't have... Sorry for that. He doesn't have a probe there in the Expo, so he cannot make new pylons to repower the Stargates. Light now microing his zealots away. Carriers coming in from the side, but decide to pull back. There's an Arbiter there. The Arbiter is going to go down to... Oh, he guts beautiful stasis off on the raids before the Arbiters can go down. There's no Observer there though, so these raids are chasing the Arbiters all the way down to the cannons. A single Arbiter goes down. Second Arbiter is... No. Pulls the raids away back to safety. Now the cannons that were locked in here are going to get cut out by these Dragoons and Zealots, but the Zealots are going to go down before they can kill any of this mech. Dragoons cut out there, all alone, left behind. Alright, another scan. Light very slowly just keeps streaming in his units. This is really, really messy and chaotic fight. There's glimpses of brilliant micro here and there, but it's mostly just a giant mess. A beautiful mess. Alright, storms coming down on the tanks. A huge wave of tanks has been cleaned out, but the Templars now running out of energy and are being morphed into Archons. Vultures come rolling in with their Vulture speed and Vulture minds. They're gonna attack the Archon, gonna take down the Templar with a beautiful back and forth micro. Alright, pulling back. The Vultures are mostly just there to clean up Zealots coming into the range of the tank before they can force the tanks into their own splash damage. Raids took down an Arbiter, maybe took down a Carrier. So Zero is in a really, really bad position here because he's pushed back into the corner, literal corner, that is his base. Light is very, very slowly advancing. It took him a long time to advance over the middle into both proxy bases and then eventually into Zero's own base. But there are no anti-air units here. He stasis 3 Goliaths. Carriers now have free fire on the vessels. He throws down the defensive medic on a tank before the vessel goes down. Raids coming in. Raids take down the Arbiter. Raids micro backwards. Regroup with more raids. There are 2 observers out there now, so he can fight back against cloaked raids. Tanks rolling in. Ready to siege up. Alright. He scans both the observers. It takes down the observers. The raids now cloaking up and attacking the carriers, forcing the carriers back to the cannon line. Raids now pulling back because they cannot fight into the carrier line. And Goliath firing away on the carriers. He's got a lot of carriers now. That's a total of 10 carriers. More carriers are on the way in production, but his minerals have very slowly dwindled down to only 6k, down from 19k when he lost his main. He's gonna have to add some more probes to his minerals, but if he adds more probes, he will not have enough units to fight this off. This is truly, truly a nasty position for him. Alright, raids coming in, taking down a carrier, taking down the second carrier, now flying into the cannons, pulling back away from the cannons, because the cannons fight over the cannons, because that's where they get detected. Tanks streaming in from the front. No more Goliaths are streaming in, though he has Goliaths coming in from his base. It's gonna take a while before they get there. Dark Templars in the mix. The scan comes down. Dark Templars go down. He's microing back and forth with his raids. He's gonna focus down on the carriers, pushing the carriers back to the cannon line, and he takes down a carrier, takes down a second carrier. He's just gonna sacrifice his raids because he knows that he has more raids than the carriers can kill before the raids all die. So he takes down carriers. Actually, yeah, Zero leaves the game. He loses the series 3-0. 0 wins 4-0 and 3 wins for Light. Light wins TVP, PVZ, TVP. All games were kind of fun, and you could really notice that Zero was not used to playing Protoss on fastest map at all because he was dealing 0 damage to Light. Maybe that's why he's named Zero. Deals 0 damage whatsoever. Pretty much this entire series was dominated by Light, and I completely believe that's because Light has way more experience on fastest map, and Zero was at this point pretty much just a fastest map rookie with a lot of talent for control, micro, and macro, but a lack of understanding of the strategies that people employ on fastest map. And yeah, I hope this game more or less so much showed that just being good at low map doesn't mean you're automatically good at fastest map. But being good at low map means you can be very, very good at fastest map because you have all the skills that you learn from playing regular low maps that you can then weave into the strategies used on fastest map. Yeah, thanks for watching this series. I'm really glad this replay did not corrupt because I would have actually slammed my face into a wall if it did. been very upset and angry and sad and crying, breaking down, all that kind of stuff, you know, the sad sob story stuff. Yeah, thanks for watching this series. It was a long series, but an enjoyable series. I like casting it. And I hope the videos stay online. Goodbye.